basically put you in a collaborative group with other vice presidents and directors and CEOs, and you guys all kind of learn from all of your organizational experiences, and you share your challenges, and they help you resolve your issues. And it's just a good collaborative working group, and you just gain so much from that collaboration and building each other up as a team. You want to build communities of different professionals in your industry that you associate with. Let's just say I'm a help desk guy, right? And I work for, a local organization here in St. Petersburg. Maybe I've got a friend that works help desk out in Tampa, and then I've got another friend in Clearwater that works help desk. What are the things that we can all share together about our different, we've all worked for different companies with different missions. We can learn from each other's skill sets and knowledge if we create a community with each other and grow together. So mentorship and coaching is amazing. I remember, my first executive coach was Cindy Hesterman. She was a former chief financial officer for a large, financial institution. And she was my executive coach as a director. The knowledges that she imparted in me, I would have never been privy to, had it not been for her, sitting down and looking at my career trajectory, even as a director and vice president, saying, hey, let's map out what you want to do for the next 5 years. Let's hold you accountable for completing those personal goals. I want to learn Spanish. Those professional goals. My goals, at the time was as a director was to become vice president. My next goal was to want to become president, things like that. So, it's just invaluable having, leadership. And one of the things that I believe I've done smartly over my career is I've actively sought out, mentors and guides throughout my career. I can remember back in 2006, I was actually a satellite systems installer in Baghdad, Iraq. And I used to fly around, Iraq, from city to city to Fallujah, Ramadi, Baghdad, and started installing satellite systems on rooftops for, giving internet services for the Iraqi army and the Iraqi police forces. I can remember I went to Camp Ramadi, and my mission was to install a satellite system for internet for the Ramadi district police headquarters. So I'm literally on a rooftop installing a satellite system, with my full battle rattle on, and in a combat zone where it's a complete war zone in Fallujah and Ramadi. And I remember, I was in the operations center as I was running internet cable for computers and phones, and I met a Marine colonel who actually was a Marine colonel helicopter pilot in the Marines as a reservist. And then in his private life, he was a private practice, insurance attorney. He was part of 1%. He was one of the top 1% of attorneys in the world. And he was based out of Los Angeles. And you meet someone of that caliber. I mean, how many people do you know that are flying helicopters and they're also a 1% attorney? And I think he said he used to have Christmas dinner with Clarence Thomas, one of the Supreme Court justices. So, when you meet people of that caliber, you want to take the opportunity to ingratiate yourself to them, to go up there and say, hey, I'd like to meet you. Is there any professional advice that you can give me as when I was a 26-year-old satellite systems installer, basically a help desk guy installing satellite antennas on rooftops throughout the country. And he said, hey, if you want to get into management one day, you need to get your bachelor's, you need to get your master's, you need to get certifications, get more experience, take every single promotion they offer you, you take it. And that was one of the mentors I gained there. And I would collect mentors throughout my career. And that's just an excellent thing to do. All right. Let's go ahead and go back to the article. All right. And number 5, develop a resume that tells your career life story. And, one of the things we talk about is, your resume is probably the one document that it's probably the most important document you're ever going to have in your career, right? That's the one document you're going to take from when the day you start your career as retail until you become an executive. That's the one document that's going to stay with you for the rest of your career. So it's important that you get that right. And I kind of came up with, hey, why don't you tell your career life story on your resume? Like, who are you really as an employee? How are you a transcendent talent that can actually affect an organization, and why they need to hire you, and what you really bring to the table? So let's go ahead and read number 5 here. All right. Your accomplishments and the skills you acquire majorly impact your career development plan and the career path you take. That's why you need a strong, well-organized resume that lists your qualifications, best attributes, and the on-the-job experience, while also highlighting the accomplishments significant to your career. Not surprisingly, then, it can be argued your resume is one of the most important documents you will carry throughout your career. So how do you make it as impactful as possible? You turn your resume into your career life story. For example, at the beginning of your resume, instead of generically listing out objectives for the position you're applying for, or jumping directly into your education and certifications, create a high-level qualifications section. And I'm going to show you an example of a resume here shortly. This introduces your career life story and should provide an overview of who you are as a candidate and what you bring to the table. In this way, just by reading the first paragraph of your resume, the reviewer now has intimate knowledge of who you are holistically as a candidate. Another example may be to change up the formatting. After your qualifications section, for instance, you might use bulleted lists in the subsequent sections for education and certification, professional development, training and boot camps, and skills and technologies that you know.